Hey everybody, Mike Naso here from IPR365.com and podweather.com with the latest on the tropics, and Hurricane Bill is no more. So long, Bill. A long-track Cape Verde hurricane did kill a few people off the east coast of the U.S. from high swells. It's very sad because it's very, very dangerous, those rip currents that these large hurricanes propagate from their circulations. Now there's the Atlantic Basin as of today, and we have a Invest. This is an Invest 92L, and it's sitting right in this region here. And that upper low I mentioned the other day is sitting right in here as from Hurricane Bill. It's at the upper levels. So this isn't our feature, and it's shearing 92L. However, as this upper low retrogrades west-southwest and weakens, this system's going to come on up like this, and there is a moderate chance right now from the Hurricane Center of development. We also have this area spinning down here in the southwest Caribbean, and if you look at that on the animation again, it does look like it is trying to at least show some signs of organization. However, it's moving directly towards Nicaragua, so it will likely not have time to develop in the Atlantic, but in the eastern Pacific it is quite possible if it can maintain this circulation. If you actually look at the pattern around it, it's very favorable. It's got the sinking air to the east of it there, and it's got good convection and banding features. It just needs the circulation, and it's running out of room to do it in the Atlantic, but we'll wait and see what happens with that in the Pacific. But right now, our only feature in the Atlantic as of today is our Invest 92L. Well, the model guidance on it is a little bit sketchy at this hour because some aren't picking up on it well, others are. It's currently moving off towards the west-northwest, northwest, and is expected to turn more northerly and then maybe a little bit back west and then start to head more north. Based on this, the consensus is something like that, but once this upper low gets out of here, it might kind of shoot up and then over and then up again. Right now, there's a good potential, I think, that this ends up somewhere near the northern Bahamas, maybe a little bit further east, right in this region here, and then eventually takes a turn north. So while it may initially be closer to the Abaco Islands and Florida, I think in the long term, the threat would be, say, from Cape Fear on northward. But again, Bermuda needs to watch it, New England, even South Florida and all up the East Coast. You need to keep an eye on this system because it could always head a little bit further to the west if it does develop, and that is the big question right now. The visible satellite does not show any signs of a circulation as of yet. You can see the winds cutting right through it like that as the wind shear from that upper level low continues to impact it, but it will break through that and continue on a track pretty much like that, so we're going to wait and see just what happens with it. But right now that is the only game in town in the Atlantic. Some heavy rain potentially for the islands, though. Other than that, the Atlantic, we're watching a few tropical waves off Africa the next few days, which some of the models show could potentially develop. So we're going to have to wait and see on that one. Out in the eastern Pacific, we have a new tropical depression 12V. It's at 16.3 north, 117.2 west. Winds are 35, gusting to 45. It's moving west-northwest at 10, 1,005 millibars, and it is expected to become Tropical Storm Ignacio and then continue to strengthen close to hurricane strength, then weaken and bend back west. Similar to the track of our Invest, actually, west-northwest, northwest, and back west. And again, it should remain out to sea, but it is looking pretty interesting at this time. There's the visible satellite imagery of it, and you can see right there that spinning right at the end. This area here, the circulation got better organized based on visible satellite, not microwave imagery. Microwave imagery didn't show much at all, but you could clearly see there is a developing tropical cyclone underneath that ball of convection. So we're watching that carefully as it should develop into our next storm. We do have Tropical Storm Hilda in the Central Pacific as of 5 p.m. Eastern. It was at 14.9 north, 145.9 west. Winds were 65, gusting to 75. Tried to become a hurricane this morning, but there is some wind shear coming from an Invest area low out here in the Central Pacific, and that has caused it to temporarily stop strengthening. West-northwest at 10, 999 millibars. Expected to continue to fluctuate the next few days and then sputter and then become a hurricane, and by the weekend be a Category 1 hurricane in the Central Pacific moving west-northwest. Now here's the satellite imagery of it, and you can see over the course of the day when the sun came up right there, it was looking like, oh no, this thing's going to pop out an eye. It could become a potent hurricane quick, but you can see what happened over the course of the day. It has become a little bit more ragged. There was some wind shear, but there is a little spot there, so we may be getting this to a hurricane the next, say, day or so as it continues to move on off towards the west. Now finally in the western Pacific, we still are dealing with Typhoon Vamco. It's finally getting out of here, moving north-northeast at 21. Winds are 100 miles an hour, 95 on this map, gusting to 120. And it is sailing out of here finally after just totally spinning and becoming a Category 4 and just barely moving the last several days. It's getting on out of here, and you can see that even better on the satellite imagery here. Look at that eye. Look at that, looking like it's strengthening a little bit, as it's a very well-defined tropical cyclone. But see this coming in here, this flow like that, pushing Vamco on out, so we're not going to have to deal with it, and it is not going to affect Japan other than potentially some high swells there along that eastern coastline of the island. But Typhoon Vamco definitely on its way out finally, but a beautiful tropical cyclone heading on out in the western Pacific Basin there. That'll do it this time for the tropics. I'm Mike Naso. Stay tuned to podweather.com and IPR365.com.